Welcome to another amazing episode of our movie. I assure you, you're going to love this one. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel at the end of the movie. Thank you, and sit tight. The movie begins with a wealthy lady named Gloria, who lost her husband years ago. She has no children and has refused to get remarried, and despite constant pressure from her mother and family. Gloria has assured them she would consider it. After ending a call with her mother, she summoned her personal assistant to prepare as they were going to work together. Meanwhile, a young man named JAXON is seen in his car with his father. They are discussing marriage. His father insists that JAXON must get married before he can become the CEO of his company. If he doesn't, his younger brother, who is already married, will take over. This frustrates JAXON, as he is not ready to get married. Later that day, Gloria's personal assistant, Yumachi, prepares to go out on a date. Her friend teases her, saying she borrowed someone else's clothes. Gloria sarcastically remarks that Yumachi will soon marry a wealthy man who can take care of her needs, and Yumachi leaves. That night, JAXON goes to a club with his friend. Having decided to look for a wife, his friend suggests picking one from the club since they are already there. However, JAXON refuses, saying he wants a good woman. The conversation continues as they enjoy their night. The next day, Gloria is on a call with her brother, who suggests she try a matchmaking dating app. Yumachi overhears the conversation. She quickly finishes her work and leaves for the day. At home, Yumachi starts researching the matchmaking app for rich people. Unfortunately, she cannot sign up because the registration fee is 500,000 naira, which she cannot afford. Her friend arrives, and Yumachi tells her everything, adding that the app is her only chance to meet wealthy people. She pleads with her friend to lend her money, but her friend refuses. Yumachi begins thinking of other ways to raise the funds. Later that day, Yumachi goes to Gloria's house to plead for an advance on her upcoming salary. Despite her pleas, Gloria refuses. The next day, JAXON is on his way to work, talking to his friend about the same matchmaking app. JAXON makes it clear he is not interested, adding that he will find a wife on his own. They end the call. Later, JAXON runs into his brother, who teases him about not having a wife. This angers JAXON, and when he gets home, he calls his friend and tells him to sign him up for the app immediately. Surprisingly, Gloria is matched with JAXON on the dating app. She asks Yumachi to hop into the car with her so she can drop her off somewhere. Yumachi agrees. When Gloria arrives at the venue for her date, she has a change of heart, saying she is not ready and hasn't moved on from her late husband. She asks Yumachi to go inside and inform her date that she won't be coming. When Yumachi gets inside, she seizes the opportunity to lie, claiming that she is the woman JAXON is waiting for. JAXON admires her, and they exchange pleasantries. Yumachi introduces herself as Gloria. After a while, Yumachi excuses herself to use the restroom and goes back to Gloria, lying that she told the man she wasn't coming. She adds that the man is old and unattractive. Gloria prepares to leave, but is stopped by Yumachi, who pretends to receive a call from her cousin asking her to come back. Yumachi uses this as an excuse to stay behind. Yumachi returns inside and continues talking with JAXON. They bond, and JAXON begins to believe Yumachi's fabricated story about her background. He assumes her mother lives in the United States because that is what Gloria initially told him on the app. JAXON has no idea that the woman sitting with him is not the same person he has been chatting with. Yumachi got home and told her friend what had happened. Her friend was angry and reprimanded her for lying, but Yumachi didn't care. She was just happy that she had found a rich man. Meanwhile, JAXON got home and called his friend, telling him he liked the girl. His friend was happy for him. The next day, Yumachi visited JAXON at his house. They enjoyed themselves, sharing jokes, eating, and talking about their lives. The following day, they went out on a date. JAXON admired Yumachi, staring at her as if he didn't want to look away. They sat together and continued their date. The two had grown very close and had likely fallen in love. They started going out together frequently, having fun, playing games, and sharing jokes. During one outing, they kissed, sealing their growing bond. That same day, as they sat together, JAXON opened up about his mother's passing. Yumachi comforted him, but then he asked about her father's death. Since her father was still alive, she became nervous and didn't know how to respond. She quickly suggested watching a movie to change the topic, but she remained uneasy. The next day, Yumachi and JAXON went out again. She surprised him with a painting of his late mother. JAXON was moved and asked how she got the picture. She explained that she had taken it from his phone. Touched by the gesture, JAXON hugged her, saying no one had ever done something like that for him before. Later that day, during a conversation, JAXON asked Yumachi to move into his house. Yumachi lied, saying she was staying in a hotel because her house was under renovation. After much pleading, she reluctantly agreed to move in. The next morning, JAXON and his friend were talking in the living room when Yumachi came downstairs. She greeted them and mentioned she was going to the supermarket. JAXON's friend, amazed by her beauty, teased her, asking her to buy something for him. She laughed and left. The following day, JAXON had a meeting with his father and brother. He informed his father that he had found someone he wanted to marry. His brother immediately objected, accusing JAXON of paying someone to pretend to be his girlfriend. JAXON denied the accusation, and the argument escalated until their father stepped in and asked the brother to leave the room. JAXON then confessed to his father that he genuinely loved the girl and wanted to marry her. His father asked to meet her, and JAXON promised to bring her over. Later that day, Yumachi was at a supermarket talking to someone when her boss, Gloria, came in and scolded her for keeping her waiting. Yumachi quickly apologized and rushed out, unaware that JAXON's friend had witnessed the scene. Curious, he asked the sales representative about Yumachi, whom he knew as Gloria. The saleswoman explained that Gloria was her boss, leaving JAXON's friend shocked. That evening, JAXON's friend went to his house and told him everything, revealing that Yumachi was a fraud who had been lying about her identity. JAXON was surprised, but refused to believe him. The next day, JAXON's father visited and met Yumachi. He liked her, and they all had a pleasant time, even with JAXON's brother present. However, the brother subtly tried to uncover more about Yumachi, which JAXON shut down. Later that day, Yumachi brought a hot meal to JAXON's father's office. He appreciated the kind gesture and thanked her warmly. The next day, JAXON decided to follow Yumachi to her workplace. This made her nervous and scared. When JAXON said he would wait for her in the car, she panicked and called her friend, explaining the situation. Unbeknownst to her, JAXON was eavesdropping. He walked back inside and told her he wouldn't accompany her anymore, saying he already understood what was going on. He left, leaving her feeling relieved. The truth eventually came out when JAXON's brother exposed Yumachi's lies. Everyone was shocked. JAXON's father was deeply disappointed, and Gloria, who was also present, expressed her disapproval. Feeling betrayed, JAXON left despite Yumachi's pleas for forgiveness. Yumachi begged JAXON to forgive her, explaining that she had no intention of hurting him. JAXON, however, told her he could have forgiven her if she had been honest. Her continuous lies had deeply disappointed him, and he walked away. Heartbroken, Yumachi went home and tearfully told her friend everything. Her friend consoled her as she cried. JAXON's dad finally handed over the company to JAXON's brother, which made JAXON feel bad. But there was nothing he could do about it. The next day, JAXON's father had a meeting with him and his brother. He informed JAXON that the board had appointed him as the new CEO. However, he added that it had come to light that JAXON's brother had beaten his wife, and she ended up in the hospital. JAXON was shocked. He told his father that he wasn't interested in the position anymore and left, despite his father calling him back. But JAXON didn't look back. The following day, Yumachi was at home when she received a call. She had been looking for a job for a while since her boss, Gloria, had fired her. Thankfully, she got a new job and her friend was happy for her. Just then, her phone rang again, and to her surprise, it was JAXON's father. She answered, wondering why he was calling her after everything that had happened. Later that day, JAXON's father spoke with him, pleading with him to accept the CEO position. JAXON initially refused, but after much persuasion, he finally agreed. As he turned to leave, he was shocked to see Yumachi standing there. He looked at his father in surprise, asking what was going on. His father then begged him to forgive Yumachi, saying that everyone deserved a second chance. JAXON forgave her, and she promised never to lie to him again. They hugged, and his father sarcastically told them to go to his office. They left, happy and at peace. The next morning, Yumachi woke up at JAXON's house. When she looked at her finger, she was surprised to see a ring. She shouted in excitement and called out for JAXON. He quickly came in, and she thanked him for the beautiful ring. JAXON then asked her to marry him, and she immediately accepted. They hugged and kissed, spending the rest of their lives happily ever after. And that's the end of my story. Everyone, I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for watching this interesting and fascinating story in my world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe for more exciting stories like this. See you in our next movie.